Today we're going to be moving on with our clay tiles, and your next step is to make sure that you know how to go ahead and start adding some of your clay on. And before you add your clay on though, you do need to take some time to make sure that you have all of your carving and everything done to the best that you can. And when you look at your project, so I have the star here, and with the star you can see that some of the areas on the bottom are really still kind of rough, and there are some areas on the corners that need to be taken out just a little bit more. So I'm going to show you some tools that are going to help you out with that. To begin with, I have, once again, not a sharp tool, but it's going to be a tool on this side. It's going to be kind of flat, and on this side I have another tool. This one's really flat, kind of like a screwdriver head on the end of that one. So now I'm going to go ahead and start with some of the carving. When I take this, I'm going to go ahead and I like to make sure I know where I'm headed, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of mark out where I need. Now I'm going to go ahead and start taking, let's go ahead and take that out a little bit further. So I have this. Now what I'm going to do is take some of that out, and what I'm really looking for here is more of a sharpness to the edge of the wall. So I have this kind of taken out. I'm not sure whose project this is, but they're going to come back and find their project worked on just a little bit by Mrs. Rao. It'll be a surprise for whoever's project this is. Okay, so I'm taking this, and notice how much more of a crisp wall instead of a sloping area, instead of it kind of coming up slowly. It's much more of a 90-degree angle, and that's more of what you're looking for, more of a defined area. So once again, you're going to go back into these areas and make sure that it's nice and defined. On some of the other things that we have on this project, it does need some more smoothing on your project, so you're going to take this and just kind of go over your surface. Some things that are helpful with this is if you go different directions, so you can go all one direction and then you can go back over it in the opposite direction, and that kind of helps to blend out any of the strokes that you have from the sculpture. All right, next what you're going to be doing is starting to add on, after you have all of that nice and smoothed out. If the area is big enough, you can also use a little bit of your finger on there. So if it's not though, you have to use a tool and keep working on it and blending some of those areas out. So hopefully you can see from the camera there where that's much more blended. This side over here is more blended. It's not quite finished, but it is better looking than this side over here. Now we're going to imagine that this is finished. So our next step that you're going to do is you're going to start thinking about your three-dimensional areas that you're wanting to pop and raise up off of the project. And you're going to be getting some new clay. When you start this out, you're going to need some clay. You don't need tons of clay. You can always get more clay as you need it, but we're needing to make this three-dimensional. So when I do this, this side over here is three-dimensional. You can see that this is raised up. This is going to be one of the arms. On the other side over here, this is completely flat. You're not needing it three-dimensional all the way around. Remember, like the Mount Rushmore, you're only needing it to be three-dimensional on one side. The other side is going to be flat. So we take this, and I can see that that's going to fit pretty nicely on there. Now I don't have the center. I would probably go ahead and make all 5 of these. So if I took these, I would go around making all 5 of these and making sure that it's all together, so I have my star. Then when I have, here's another example. If I'm wanting to create a ball, I don't need an entire ball. Instead what I'm needing is a half circle ball. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to kind of flatten this out on the one side. I'm going to take this, and it needs to be three-dimensional, like our example of Mount Rushmore, where it's going to be still a ball visible from the top, but from the bottom portion it's flat because it only needs to be seen from the front or the top view. Taking this and kind of flattening it out, you can see that it's flat here and rounded on top. So if this was a ball, I'd be able to put this on my project. Okay. Next, let's go ahead and put one of these on your project and see what it's going to look like. So that one fits pretty well there. Once again, whoever's project this is, it's going to be a little bit of a surprise for them when they pull it out of the bag. You're going to need, once again, some tools because you're going to do some scoring, and you're going to need that slip today. So let's go ahead and first of all, I'm going to make a little bit of a roughed up surface. So on the bottom of my surface here, I'm going to go ahead and make a sloppy tic-tac-toe board. On the clay leg over here, we're going to go ahead and take, once again, you're going to make a sloppy tic-tac-toe board. Now you're going to go ahead and put some slip on there. You only need to put slip on one of the additions here. Now I'm going to take this and put it right there. When I put it on there, kind of make sure it's going to stick. Something else you'll see is that there's a seam on the side. You can go ahead and there's a little bit of a seam there where it's not quite fitting together right there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that, you can take a tool if your finger doesn't fit in there, or you can take your finger if it does, and you're just going to blend that on so it is seamless. My example for this one is if you have a Barbie, if you know what a Barbie arm looks like, looks like it's stuck on the side. It's very fake. There's a break in between. You need a much more natural looking arm attached to your shoulder, more like a actual person, so that it's blended together. There's no big seam like a doll has. So this is much more blended together. You'll see that there's no cut, well, a little bit, I'm still blending that. So you're needing to make that look as if it is continuous and all one. All right, some of you are ready to go ahead and start getting on your additions today. Enjoy.